I will try and speak very slowly. My natural accent is very fast, so if you don't quite remember anything I say, then by all means ask me to say it again. With regards to the microphone, being Welsh, which is, you learn a little bit about me. If I decide to hold the microphone, it's very likely that I'll sing, and I don't want to do that. If I get a bit dry and a bit tired, then, and I will, if you cannot hear me at the back, just let me know and I'll use the microphone, it's okay. I just want to pass my thanks to Mr. Hussaini, Mr. Adrian and Mr. Leonard for inviting me. Coming from the football environment, our biggest forte really is the network. It's very powerful, so that's the reason why I'll do that. A bit of depth about the presentation or the keynote is, I appreciate that it's football, and I also appreciate that there may be people in the room that have absolutely no interest in it at all, possibly could hate it, but for me, sport is the most powerful tool in terms of personal development and team dynamics, which I'm going to talk you through. So there's lots of pictures and videos, some from my own experiences also. I'm going to talk about 3 case studies from around the world, which is where I've been, and I've been asked to share a little bit about the Summer's World Cup. So this is my opinion. I would like to say it's very controversial. So, like I said, moving forward, I hope that we can get a lot out of the day. So rather than me keep talking, I'll just move on. Okay, so the objectives for me, for you as an audience, is that you try and learn something new. Granted it's football, granted it's sport. So what I want you to do throughout is if you can try and link what I'm going to talk about to maybe your own environment. And that's key. So if you can learn something new from that, maybe it will remind you of something that you've learned previously. Something's just triggered you off. Can you take something and adapt it to your own environment that you need to do? Or can it reinforce your previous thinking, which is something I go through a lot. Not that I'm arrogant, but when I go to a lot of conferences, in my world, which is what I call this football world, there's a lot of opinion. You have to be strong-minded, because otherwise you finish. So when I go places, I have my own ideas, which you learn about. So what's key for me is that in that environment, somebody says, okay, this is the right way to do it, this is what I believe, and this person is at the top level. So when they say that, I feel great. So that's sort of the idea that I want you to look at. Those 4 things with regards to your own profession, whether you like sport, don't like sport, participate, don't participate, love the beautiful game that we have, or you don't. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm making new contact, which is me. And hopefully I'll have 150 new contacts for my own network. Okay, so with regards to personal development, I thought I'd put this up. Because thank you for the wonderful introduction, but I'm actually nobody. In terms of the game, I'm nobody. I've just been very lucky. I'm fortunate to experience all that I have and meet the people that I have. So a little bit more depth about my current role. The National Football Development Programme, which you see this logo, has been running for 3 years already in Malaysia. Unfortunately, the respective governing bodies, from the Ministry of Education, FAM, the National Sports Council, everybody sort of hasn't quite ticked together for various reasons, which is why the country are ranked 155 in the world. We are very lucky that YB Kylie Jamaluddin was elected as the Youth and Sports Minister, and he's made it his #1 goal to push the game forward in Malaysia, knowing that for Malaysians, in our opinion, is that if football does well in this country, there's naturally going to be an even better feel-good factor amongst everybody. So this program was relaunched by the Prime Minister in March. In April, sorry, I joined in the March. And basically my role comes down to this. So coach education, so I'm responsible for teaching coaches how to be better, how to develop their knowledge. Player development from under 7 to under 17, and that's at every age group, 7, 8, 9. Scouting and talent ID, because there's nothing in the country, so I've designed a platform for that. So how we can cover upwards of 10 to 15,000 players, and I've designed it so that they are monitored every day. National team coach, so I'm currently with the project squad. This project squad, we have absolutely no pressure except our KPIs to qualify for the World Cup, which has never been done before. So we have a project squad at under 12. For those of you that love the game and love Malaysian football, I will tell you that we've had 4 overseas tours already this year. South Korea, Japan, Germany, and recently England. We have done extremely well in all 4 tournaments. We won in South Korea. I took that team. Somebody else took them to Japan. We went to England, we played Chelsea, we played Tottenham Hotspur, we played the big boys. And we scored 47 goals in 6 games. So these boys, potentially in the next 5 or 6 years, you could all be celebrating a lot of good work and feeling good about it. And then performance analysis. So my job is I watch the games, I cut it up, I analyse it, I work with the players one-to-one, I work in the classroom, I work on the pitch, I do individual work, I analyse the coaches, I analyse their performance on the touchline, how they speak, how they coach, how they deliver, and then I have to try and sit down with them and tell them when they go wrong. So it's an awful lot of work, but one I'm thriving in, and I'm aware that there's a lot of international students here as well, and delegates, but for me, I may be British, but I feel very much half Malaysian. For those of you that are keen on learning more about the programme and following it, here are the Twitter and the Facebook accounts. An additional point for the keynote, I don't mind if you want to take photos on your phone, I don't mind, there's no problem throughout. Okay, so just where I'm from, my nationality, I explained to you I'm Welsh from the UK. We are a very Celtic nation. Just so you're all aware, that bag, by the way, wasn't striped, Alexis, that's tartan. That's a very Celtic theme, just so you're all aware of that, which is big in our country. These 2 people here are very successful players. Wales, many people say, are you English? From the UK, are you English? I can tell you now, I am not English, I am Welsh. I am proud to be Welsh. We have the most expensive player in the world at £100 million. Aaron Ramsey is a friend of mine, someone that I grew up with while I was at my first club. And just so you know, this is the European Champions League and this is the FA Cup. So as far as I'm concerned, Wales have won both major competitions in the last 12 years. Okay, moving on, I just want to, it's very personal because people come and talk to a keynote and you don't know nothing about them. So a lot of this is about me, personal development, where I come from and the environment. So I think that's important to engage with you all so you understand what I've been able to achieve, I'm very lucky to achieve, and the environment that I've been in. So this here is actually my mum's house. As you can see, there's only about 2,000 people here. There is a lot of poverty, there is a lot of drugs, there's a lot of trouble, there's a lot of derelict buildings, and I am thankful that I got out. I love going back there, but after 3 days I've had enough. My friends and family, my family are all great, obviously. My friends, out of the local village team that we had, of 16 players, 8 are in prison for various crimes because of where we live, where we come from. So like I said, I'm very, very fortunate to have gone out to that. And football is what has done it for me, nothing else. I was quite smart in school, but I never wanted to learn because I was always trying to play and train and all this, but I'm very lucky. Just this year, this was a factory that was put in, caused a lot of problems with the locals, but basically that's my home. this was my freedom growing up. So amongst all of that trouble and that I hit, and I was part of that group at one point, and I was a rascal at one point. Hussaini would probably say I still am, but I disagree. This is where I found my pathway to life. This is where I realised I could go and I could develop and I had a chance to get out. Naturally, my first wish was to play top level. I reached so far, and then I would be honest to say I failed. Okay, so this is my journey. I started at Cardiff City in Wales. I moved to Malaysia to work for Transri Vincent Tan with a program here. I spent 1 year here before I resigned. I couldn't agree on a new contract and I went back to the UK. And within 48 hours, I moved to North Carolina in the US. I worked on a consultancy program there, which I enjoyed very much. And then I got called by an agent who had promised me a job in Bahrain. I was stranded at the airport. That provided a difficult time for me. I had 3 months of doing very little, except I was fortunate enough for my parents to support me, where I watched 47 games in 53 days, up and down the country. I moved to Australia, worked with the Football Federation there, and then I got headhunted to go to Buriram, which is a province in Bangkok, outside of Bangkok, in the Thai Premier League. And then I came back here. So I've gone all around the globe in the last 3 years. A lot of air miles that I'm kicking myself that I haven't collected. I don't know why. But it's a very interesting story. So this is an overview. I'm not going to go into everything because I don't have the time. We'll still be here next week. So I just wanted you to know my background as a start. Okay, so in terms of my education, I had a normal education at the school in the village. Secondary school, I did excel in terms of my grades. I then took up my college education at the football club. So at the professional football clubs in the UK, the boys who are 16, 17 and 18 study a college education at the stadium in a classroom. So I wanted to do that. So that's why I know Alan Ramsey, because we studied together. So that's how I know him. I learned French at school to a pretty good level. I achieved an A grade, which this is going to come into play later. My football education is all I have after that. I signed professional at 17, I finished at 18 with a knee injury, and I wasn't good enough to come back anyway. So my football education is in the form of a coaching license. I have a tactical periodization license, which is basically conditioning at the highest level, and I have my coach educator and instructor's license on 3 continents. So I've been very fortunate to do that. And Football Federation Australia is probably my biggest learning curve there. They follow a Dutch methodology, which is very good, and the UEFA. So I just put these 2 flags here. I can speak Bahasa and Thai. Again, this will come into play. But I cannot speak my mother tongue. So that's my education. Again, keep thinking about this personal development. I'm going through this, so all my life story as I'm moving forward, I've got things that are going to come up like these. So my role models growing up and why. So maybe from your own environment, you have your own role models that you, whether they are singers, actors, whatever they may be, parents, family members, and how they play a big part. So for me, naturally, they're all footballers. I'm not sure if people are aware of these 3. Basically, when I talk and look at these 3 people, Thierry Henry is French, Zinedine Zidane is French, but French-Algerian, if there's any in the room. Thierry Henry is actually from a Central American country, Martinique. It's from a French colony, Martinique. And everybody will probably know the guy in the middle. So these people, you know, they have persona, they have class, and they have elegance. So growing up, these 3 people, this one here, I aspire to be, with a little bit of this one also, maybe look like him. Plus, the way he carries himself, the way he carries his family, you see him, okay, he had that problem before, but generally, he's a fantastic individual. So, moving through my role models now from my career, in terms of the coaches, maybe you also know these three.
Yes.
I've been very lucky to spend time with all three. Arsene Wenger, I met him 3 or 4 times. I will tell you the truth, I was hunting for autographs during a time when Wembley was closed in England and they played the games at Cardiff, which is near to my hometown, it's the city of Wales. So when the team stayed at the hotel, naturally I became a real pain to my mother and forced her to have holidays and wouldn't go to school until she took me to the hotel. Jose Mourinho, I have to thank Country Vincent Tan and Dato Chan for the opportunity that he came to Kuala Lumpur for a special dinner at the Giant Times Square with Peter Lim, Singaporean, and I was allowed to go and have dinner with him also. Very interesting experience. And Brendan Rodgers is someone I'm not going to say like myself because he is there and I'm here. But he is a coach that strived through youth development, did a good job, suffered setbacks, and now he's at one of the biggest football clubs in the world. For those of you that are Liverpool fans, they're not the biggest club in Liverpool because Everton are, and I'm an Everton fan. So, apologies for that. But these three people are fantastic. The one in the middle, I'm guessing you all know who he is for specific reasons. He's very controversial, but on a personal development platform, in this game, if you're not, you don't survive. Because you will learn a little bit more later with some pictures. And that's what they do. They're perfectionists. And that's what I would like to think that I am. So every day when I wake up in my sport, if I don't achieve perfection, then I fail. And I fail my players and I fail my colleagues. So it brings me a lot of stress, but I deal with it. And then, moving forward to another part, people. So everybody, I'm sure everybody likes movies. Denzel Washington, for me, I don't know what it is, but his character, the way he carries himself, maybe it's the script writers that make me feel this way. But every time I watch an interview with him as a person, he seems a fantastic person, very humble, and very different background also. And then this guy here, how many times I've read books on him, watched the videos, whether it's the one with Will Smith, whether it's the personal documentary, I just feel he's a fantastic guy. And what he fought for was unbelievable. And what you'll probably notice about all these people that I've just gone back through is that they all have something in common. They're all very confident, they're all successful people, and they all carry themselves in a certain way, which is what I have to do. Otherwise, and I keep saying it all days, these also have success, and if I don't do that, I don't survive. And I don't have enough of an education to say, okay, now I want to do business, or now I want to become a doctor. Without this game, I have nothing. And I go back to the picture that I showed you, and it's likely that I'll end up in the wrong environment. Okay, so I have a professional soundboard. As you all know, you have someone who you need to talk to, or you want to talk to. A best friend, some people maybe their boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, somebody from school, a particular colleague. For me, I am extremely fortunate again to have these three people. Kevin Cooper is paramount to everything that I do now. To a point where it's quite emotional when I speak about it. Kevin was a player at Cardiff City that I grew up watching. We came to Malaysia with Tan Sri Vincent Tan. He was offered the job when he retired from football. So after retiring, we came to Malaysia for a 14-day tour under the wishes of Tan Sri Vincent Tan on behalf of Cardiff City. When I came in those 14 days, I worked so hard, he wanted to bring me with him. Because Kevin was coming out on a full-time contract. So I joined Kevin, 37 years of age, married man, successful career in the game, 3 children, and we lived side by side. I was about to say slept side by side, but I only got the wrong idea. So we had, in the condo, we had 2 single beds, so we were just this close. So the link, which is why I put these up, is that Dave Jones was my first professional manager when I worked at Cardiff City. When I coached, he was the first professional manager that I had to respond to or answer to. Malky Mackay was another inspirational one. If you follow football, and especially Cardiff City, you will know that this guy has had a lot of problems recently with cancer and some time. But you see the link through, so I'm just going to show you how it all links together and about this network. So Kevin played at Cardiff, Dave was manager at Cardiff. Dave was manager at Stockport and he took Kevin on loan. He ended up signing Kevin for Stockport County. Dave was successful and moved to Wolves. Kevin had a transfer for £2 million and went to Wimbledon. After his time at Wimbledon, Dave re-signed Kevin to join him at Wolves. Dave moved on to Southampton and Cardiff City. Kevin moved to Cardiff City as a player and then he spent time at Norwich City on loan. Malky Mackay played for these clubs. Celtic, probably a very famous club for those of you who are fans. Kevin played with Malky Mackay at Norwich. And then Malky played at West Ham United and became manager at Cardiff City when I was there. So again, I don't want to bore you, so apologies with football jargon, but I want you to understand my personal development always and my network and how powerful your network is in your own field and also other field, like sport, because it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable, the people that you can meet. Okay, so my personal soundboard, my 3 best friends. Again, all football. They're not from school. They're all teammates that I met at 12, 13 years of age. These are the teams that I played for. This was senior school. He was 4 years older than me, and Ashley was also a teammate within the state team. So I speak to them about everything. And they are very, very close to me, as everybody, I'm sure you have your own best friends. But it's very important that this person's soundboard, this one, I'm actually quite scared to talk to him. Because if I have a problem, I know he will roll at me. So I don't want that. This one is super supportive, where anything that I want to do, he keeps pushing me, almost every day. And this one, he doesn't want to stop talking about me. So I have 3 different types of friends within my group that I know whatever problem I have, I can talk to. So again, when you have problems, it's about your character to develop personally. Always linking back to what we're talking about. And then my inspiration. So my mom, my dad, and my granddad. So it's very difficult to be away from these people. I've been away now for 3 years. I missed my last 2 Christmases because I celebrate Christmas. So, and as you can see, this one, he is getting quite old now. So time is ticking. But these are the people that I do it for. Because my mom is still in that very difficult village. And my dad, they split. And they're very, very close still, strangely enough. Siblings wise, I'm one of 4. I'm one of 24 grandchildren. We have a very big family, so it's important. We're all naturally very proud, as I'm sure all your family are also. My release, everybody needs one. As I can be perfectly honest with you, I may be on a football pitch all the time. I know I don't look like it. Thanks to Usaini and Teterik and Roti Chana, I put on 20 kilos when I first got. Now I get rid of this. So I get rid by doing this. So this was an interesting one. If you haven't read it, it is worth reading. It's an unbelievable book. And I relate it to football like I want you to relate this to your own happening. It's fantastic. This one, I have read this book now 12 times. because it keeps reminding me of where I am. That realization of, okay, I know what I'm thinking, does this guy think it? I don't want to be him, I want to be better than him. Whether I can, I don't know. But this way of thinking is very logical. So, and I enjoy it. I can switch off from everything and get back into being this boy with ambition and my childhood dreams. Okay, my assurance. This is a bit more technical, so I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on it. But my assurance in my work also is that I have this. Naturally, the logo is from Thai Club SCG Mung Thong, just because that's the latest version that I've done. During my time in Australia, I was required to write my own philosophy on the game. So coaching for you all is not just about you have your team, you go on the pitch and you play football. It's not about that at top level. It's about so much more. As I'm sure the professions that you want to win or are in for those delegates, there's so much depth to it that people unfortunately you don't see when you have your team shirt on and you're watching it on a Saturday evening EPL at Mama. You just don't see what's beneath it. So this is my philosophy, my 6,000 plus word dossier on how I believe when I work with a team, how we would work, how we would function. I control every part. I'm quite controlling also, by the way, I can't leave things go. This is the first keynote. So this is how my team will set up. I'm going to show you a quick example without boring you. This is another part of it, which is this is how my team sets up against any other formation and style that the opposition are going to use. So I've got everything covered. And this one is just about set pieces. So this is my weaponry. When this doesn't work, I have to revert back to this quickly, and this is my special weapon, which Hussaini has been part of, as you'll see in the case study. I hope you enjoyed yourself during that time. I learned a lot. So my personal development, my work ethic, I cannot stop. I find it very difficult to switch off. Maybe some of you are also like that. Okay? Because of the passion that I have. If I feel that if I stop, somebody else is going to take that opportunity away from me. They're going to outstep me. They're going to get in front of me, and I can't have that because I'm a winner. I cannot lose. It's sport. So I have to naturally have that all the time. And this one, this is great actually, because I know you're all students, and I know you all have your financial implications when you come to college and university. I know you have to make extreme sacrifices, and your families do. My education, and I will tell you quite openly, has put me in debt. My football I'm still in debt now. I may, for whatever way you want to call it, a Western, a Matsali, whatever. I know many people come here and they have extreme salaries and they live a life of luxury, but I don't, because I have my debts to pay. To the point of, to be quite frank, my bank account was shut in the UK because I kept chasing my dream, and I kept having a loan, not to go and shop and buy a nice suit, because this, by the way, this isn't an expensive suit. The shoes are okay, but the suit isn't. But this, I've had to borrow loans and loans just to do a license, just to fly to another country to go to a conference, to spend time at the club, to be able to stay in a hostel, to be able to eat, to develop my education. And my family have also played a massive part in that, but I know that I will reach the top at some point. And then this becomes worth it. So now I don't worry about money. I'm very lucky I don't have children. But I do want many. But I am lucky with that. I have a lot of responsibility also in my personal life anyway. So in terms of personal development, I'm not telling everybody to get in debt, by the way. I'm just saying that I have had to go through this, and I'm still going through it to get to where I want to go to develop my knowledge. So that's adding also to flying around the world. Because if something that maybe trigger you off is I'm aware you're all international students and there's obviously local students also. So you travel overseas, but you cannot stop traveling. If you have the opportunity, then go. Because I've learned so much and met so many people from going to these countries, and I will be quite frank, just flicking quickly back to my hometown. My hometown is that there are Christian churches there, but not everybody goes. I grew up in an environment where when people go to church, they make fun and they get bullied because they're not involved in sport. That's the environment, it's very different to here. So I have gone from that to come into a country that is purely an Islamic country. And I know being respectful, you're all aware of events that have gone on a few years ago now, stereotypical people are. Especially my country, where the UK, where they do anything that America says and jumps up and goes, and they actually a bit clueless, the people who run the country. Because they get involved in this. So for me, you know, I've come through this culture and change, and I've gone from that environment to an Islamic environment, to then going to America in a highly Christian environment, and then to Australia where they're very much like us, and then going to a Buddhist environment in Thailand. So it's very interesting. So I have learned so much and grown so much as a person by doing that. So I think the learning curve is can you go and do things which give you different experiences and don't be scared. And in a word, really, that's what it is. I'm determined to reach the top, and I cannot expect to go to the top if I'm just sat in my own comfort zone, because it just doesn't work. So I have the passion, I have targets, I have a burning desire every day. And then this bit, this game is watched by, on average, 4 billion people every week, out of a world population of 7 to 8, I think now. You are all smarter than me because you're in college/university, so maybe you know the figures. But 4 billion people. And I get up every day, and this is my job. So respectful to those 4 billion people who wear their shirts, or who spend money to watch the team, who travel, or who sit and watch it all day and read the newspaper and Twitter and Facebook and talk and play games, and this is my job. So actually I don't work. When I think about it, I don't work because I'm doing something that I love. And that's also linking back to what you're doing. And you are going through your education now where you may not know what you want to do, but I can guarantee you that you must strive to do something that you love, because you'll never feel like it. And this is just about the game. So apologies if there's anybody that very animal friendly. I'm also animal friendly. I'm not allowed to have any because my landlady won't let me have any in my condo, so unfortunately I can't. But it's just basically relating to the two phrases. The game that I work in is an animal. It's undescribable and respectful to every other profession, business, law, everything, but this game is an animal. And you're always alone. I have my team. I would say I have, in terms of having children, I'll just revert back quickly. Since the age of 18 when I started coaching, I have always had a minimum of 30 children a week. So I always have my kids. And like it says there, you are always the prey. And this is what it feels like. People are coming. Thailand, I experienced ridiculous things, which I'll tell you. Here, I also, with Hussaini, we experienced ridiculous treatment. I'll go through it again. But you get stronger. People knock you down, you must get up. You feel sad and you have a problem, get up and be active and go and do something about it. Don't sit, whether you drink or you don't drink, don't stay in the bottom of your glass. Don't sit on your hands. Get up, and in some cases, being respectful, you have to stick 2 fingers up to the world and go and get what you want, because it's not going to come to you for nothing. So just Just this one. If you're on Twitter, I'm sure you all follow motivational quotes and all this type of stuff. It's so inspiring. If I opened up my laptop, which I won't because there's also other stuff in there, but in terms of photographs, I must have minimum 2,000 or 3,000 of these screenshot, and when you put your phone in, which takes a problem, and then it syncs. So there's so many quotes. I was looking through it, and apologies to Adrian, I've said so many times, he wanted the idea of the keynote 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I only give it this week because I was still looking at all these photos thinking, what can I give to these people to give them even more? And this one was quite interesting. So when you can't change the direction of the wind, it just decides. It doesn't mean give up on hope, it means can you execute something differently? I heard something from Brendan Rodgers that he said, people talk about strategy, people talk about tactics, people talk about the plan. So my thought process is, strategically, you plan and put something together. Tactically, you have to execute. So maybe you have to change your tactics, but you keep to your strategic plan. So this is basically describing that. And I'm going to move to team dynamics in terms of timing. I've got some videos for you. This is from a movie, Remember the Titans, with Denzel. So it's about 3 different movies here. Also some of my work with the boys. So it gives me a break to get a drink, stop this dry throat, and it also prevents you from listening to me rabble on anymore. Fine. Okay, enjoy. It is about a lot of difficult scenarios within an American college football team between the Afro-American boys and the white boys. And the start of the movie, and it builds where they have a lot of tension and they don't play. So this game brought people together. So in terms of team dynamics, this happens quite a lot in sport, as I'm sure you'll understand. I felt it was quite a nice clip to break it up for people to understand. Team dynamics. This one is the project boys that I told you about. We have boys from all over the country, from East Malaysia to every state. The only state we don't have representation is from Perlis. They struggle with confidence. Malaysian football players struggle with playing against Westerners and Europeans. They struggle with speaking English, although they can't. They don't want to. They struggle with projecting themselves. You only have to watch the national team, and before the game they're already cowering against more Southeast Asian nations now. But quite happy to talk about the days when we beat Korea and Japan. Now it doesn't happen. So it's just a quick clip of how we changed the team based on something external outside of training and matches. This night was freezing cold. Usually we say cannot do this with kids, so to be fair, 2 of us, myself and another coach, Kali, who also worked with me, who signed with the MR team, we just said, stuff it, we are going. So we went into the forest. I'll tell you, to be truthful, in Germany, we weren't allowed to take the wood, but we took it. And lo and behold, me and Kali struggled to light the fire until the boys from Sabah came. And they said, okay, we can do everything. So after about 20 minutes, this happened. So I'm sure you've all been involved in those types of environments. But this is coming from boys who don't do anything. They're too scared to do it. And then all of a sudden they're singing and dancing and clapping. And then the next one, it's in Bahasa. I actually understand it. It's a kampung or a village song. So for those of you that understand, as far as I'm aware, it's not disrespectful, it's just a bit nakal. It's a bit cheeky. This was in South Korea. We just beat a Japanese team 5-0, and this was on the bus. so based on that, just a bit of background to it. With local coaches, they don't allow them to do this. They don't allow it, especially because the majority of the coaches are from a teaching background. So I wasn't educating the boys to do anything disrespectful. I'm just allowing them to be boys, because that's what they are. And that continued after every game. And in Korea, we scored 49 goals in 8 games. So they got on the bus and they did it again, to the point of sometimes we shared buses. And after 5 minutes of one journey, the Chinese team stopped the bus and got off because they didn't want to listen to us. So that inspired it to go again and again and again by the time we go back to the hotel. So just some videos there to break it up, as I said, and I'm going to try and keep it on. So team dynamics. What are team dynamics? Why do we have team dynamics and how do we do it? For me, I'm not going to give you the answers now, because I honestly don't have the answers. I have the answers for my own environment. What's key is that you think about the answers for your own environment. But these two are key. In my world, staff cohesion. My staff have to have targets, they have to have satisfaction, they have to have progression, they have to have appreciation in what they do, and they have to have opportunity, which transfers to player cohesion. This has to be right. This is paramount. This is paramount in the world of football. You don't have this, you never get this. So with players, you have to play the game. There's a football phrase, terminology, which is play the game. We liken it to cards. Apologies, I know for those of you that that follow Islamic religion, I know that gambling and all this. I'm not saying we gamble, but we just play the game cards. So it's that terminology. You hold your 3 cards and you play when you need to, and you try and outfox other people. You have to do that with players. You may have to do that when you lead your team. You may have to play people off against each other for the benefit of the team, to give them even more so that the team achieves success. You have to unite them. You have to console them. You have to again show them appreciation regardless of age, and they have to have opportunity to play, to participate, to be involved, to give something to the team, whatever you are doing. Which, if you have that, naturally you will get this. So you will have a winning team because your environment will be top level. The team will have desire. You produce a platform for them to be able to achieve. You have to have the platform, the foundation. If you don't have it, zero. You cannot build a house from the roof. It's impossible. You have to challenge them all the time. I just watched a 20-minute video before this about Roy Keane, who was a former Manchester United player, and he's very controversial the last 2 weeks with his book. And Roy Keane said, we won the treble at Manchester United in 1999. And for me, I actually spoke at the end of season dinner and said, this is not enough for us. We should have had one more trophy. So this desire to keep going, keep pushing. Don't settle for anything. Yes, celebrate success, but move on. Because tomorrow is another day. That is then past. You must always live in the present and try striving for the future. You live on the past, you're finished. Okay, the case studies. So I'm going to skip through these. Basically, this one was the Yamaha Cup. As you can see there, we had a collective team. Based on it, apologies, I used the wrong photo. Sorry, I do apologize. So this year was just a press conference. The Yamaha team played in the ASEAN Cup. Bit of background, moving forward. Okay, so every case study will follow 4 or 5 slides. So the theme is in the top left, just so you're aware. So we were required to select a squad 3 months before the tournament started. We were expected to achieve and do very well for 2 reasons. One, I came from Europe, and 2, we were being backed and linked to Tan Sri Tan and Datu Chan because of Cardiff City. We took part as the Malaysian team away from FAM because they weren't going to send a team, and then they did input the team last minute. We played Thailand, India, Vietnam and Indonesia, plus the other Malaysian team. I want to talk to you about the success. So maybe if you have questions later or however we can do it, then that's no problem about this. We had a limited budget. We were told when we were selecting that we would be able to go nationally. 2 months before the tournament, that was cut after all the strategic planning. So tactically, I had to change the wind in my sails. We were only allowed to recruit from KL and Klang Valley, and you're expected to achieve in a Southeast Asian tournament. Unbelievable. Outside the management restrictions, people in the office fighting against us. We had red tape on political issues because people were concerned in our office to get boys out of the school, etc., and chair players and all this, and affect other programs. We had last-minute changes and interference. Our top striker at that time, Mohammed Haikal, was at VI Sports School. Fantastic boy, recruited him 6 weeks before the tournament and was scoring goals for fun. He stepped into my philosophy and our philosophy, and he worked. And when we released him back home, he fell off his motorbike with his brother going to the shop with his parents. He had an infection problem, so we kept him with the team. I knew that he was never going to be 100% fit, but we fought and fought to keep him in. During this time, and Hussaini had more stress than me with this, was that the management would poke him, trying to get us to release Haikal, send him back. We don't want him. He's not fit, he's not this, you take an opportunity away. But I knew that if we took Haikal at 70% fit to the tournament, he could do something. And that's what we did. And we fought right into the last day of deadline, where I lost my rag a little bit. And I just said, you sit in the office, you put me in charge of the team, I will take the team. If we fail, it is my job. But you let me pick the team. And in the first game, we put him on after 10 minutes. It was tight. It was 0-0. With 10 minutes to go, it was 0-0 against Vietnam. He came on, he scored. He came on, he had an assist, we won the game 3-0. That situation worked for us. It doesn't happen all the time. The tournament. We were the most impressive team, style and quality. Dr. Rajagopal came to observe the tournament and he paid us that compliment. We conceded 1 goal in the whole competition, the least amount of goals. We lost to the reigning and retaining champions, Thailand, in the semi-final. In 2 minutes against the run of the game, they had a free kick. The ball was hit high. It bounced up over the goalkeeper, hit the bar. It came back and somebody followed it. Very unlucky. And we scored the most amount of goals, and we finished with a bronze medal because we stuck another 3 goals past Vietnam in the third, fourth place. So my wish to you is that stick to your principle. You have a principle, you have a belief, you have a right to fight for it. If you feel that strongly about something and you know it's in here and it's running through your blood, you go. Push. Sacrifices are, you have to take the fall. If it goes wrong, you take the fall. I was lucky this time where it worked, thanks to my team of staff. And how did we do it? So myself and the staff recruitment, it was vital. I had 5 members of staff. Before we did anything, I delivered a keynote presentation to them with a target. Under all this pressure that we already knew, I flashed it up to say our target, and I asked the 4 of them the question, what is the target? Maybe Hussaini can give you all the answers, if he feels comfortable. That during that time, Hussaini was under a lot of pressure from the management, but that target was to win. The target was to win the tournament against everything, but we never told the players. It was our staff target. For them, we kept them relaxed and enthused the right way through, and we built the targets as games went on. Because that, again, is part of the team dynamics. I didn't share the overall overall target with them, but I give them smaller bits which built to the end result which they were never aware of until the time of competition, which we released it the night before. We give, maybe that's pressure. Also, it could have gone the other way. Naturally, we didn't win, so that you could say that that one backfired on them because I told them before the tournament. But the inspiration they had was remarkable, how they pushed forward. Player recruitment. So to be honest, we didn't have a lot of good players. We had okay players, but we had to create the team with the philosophy, with the staff, with the targets, and the way we work. Performance management, we monitored them, we evaluated them, we set them targets, we had keynotes after training, after games, we did everything that even the national team were not doing at that point. And we were doing it with under 12. Player management, we created a siege mentality, which I took from Jose Mourinho. The management were causing us problems. We knew there was going to be a lot of people from Malaysia coming to watch, which there was. The other teams wanted to beat us because you were aware of Malaysia, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, in terms of their history with the game. So we had to say, in a room very similar to this, we called the parents in and we made it us as staff, the players and the parents against everybody, even my books. We said it's not about them, it's about us. And the support we had from the parents was unbelievable, and it was every day, siege. It was fight, it was battles with the management, but we dealt with it. But I have a lot to thank Hussaini for because of he took a lot of that flack away from me, so I could concentrate with the team. And change, this was key, change. Change the mentality of players, change the mentality of staff, and face adversity. Don't be scared to ever face adversity. You believe in your right, you go with it, and you come through it. And this is quite key for me. This is what I had. I would like to think I was that one H. That one, if that's all right there. Okay, so that's case study 1. Case study 2 is when I went to Australia, the Boundary Forum Force. Okay, sorry, I'll just flick back to this one. You see these here? This just says it all, doesn't it? If those of you in the room would like to share with me what this picture tells you, I would be more than happy, but if not, I don't mind. This all? Thanks, that's my coach in that. No. This just tells you, in a team, look how broken it is. So disorganizing. I'm going to tell you this. 1, 2, 3 local players. 1, 2, 3, 4 overseas players. Look at the divide. In a wall, for those of you who don't know football, this is a free kick. They're supposed to stick tight together and defend it. Look at what the buggers are doing. And I said to them, what's this? And this one said, I thought it was going to hit me here. So it shows how much fight he had. So, based on Boundary Forum Force, the background. They are a regional club in Western Australia in Perth. We have the pressure of community because it's like this team is in Sabah, for example, and all the other teams, like the Super League, Premier League, are all mainland. So they don't get anything, they don't get any support, it's against them, all of this, all the time. I joined as an assistant coach 2 weeks before the season, no pressure again. And we were expected to achieve. The detail, solid budget. We had a lot of money to play with, but it was wasted and it was forced to be used. Because of where we were, it's like players going to Sabah saying, well, you pay me this so I don't go. And then we cannot recruit quality players. So these, I tell you, they were on so much money and they wouldn't have got half of that if I had made the decision. We had community and media pressure. Believe it or not, for a club like that, I was on the news 3 times a week. In the paper, being castrated all the time. Because we were a regional club. We had infighting, personalities and problems. My job title there was assistant coach. Yeah, actually should have been social worker. Based on the first picture, one of them was at Manchester City. If any of you are real football fans and you know about the story, he is the guy that stubbed the cigar into, Joey Barton, a very controversial player, stubbed the cigar in his eye. He caused problems, he had children all over the village, and he'd only been there for 2.5 years. He had drink problems, we had boys who were fighting, we had boys, one guy, 26 years of age, and he'd come to me in my office because of football development in the daytime. I cannot handle my good friend anymore. Try it. So this thing of a coach is about just more than being on the pitch. She's doing my head in, I don't know what to do, I cannot focus on my game. Do you rate me as a player? You know, I cannot do my work. All of this because they're also part-time. And then I was appointed the head coach after 3 games because one of those guys in the wall who did this, he was actually player manager and he couldn't deal with it and he left. So that was a very interesting time during my career. But team dynamics, I wanted to explain that these are the problems that you may face. So when you're working with people and they don't give you everything all the time, there may be external factors behind it that they don't show you, but you must try and find out somehow. Unfortunately, it affected my work where half of my week, like I said, I was a social worker. The result. We had consistent results. I told them before it's going to take us 6 games to get a result. It took us 4. I believe in the philosophy which I showed you. We beat the top 4 teams away from home. I developed players past their best. They're already old. Players come from the UK, 32, 33, and we're still learning. We changed mindsets and built a respectful reputation. And again, face adversity. I have to make them believe in that they can do it. How did we do it? It was myself and the president. Staff recruitment, we set targets and a precedent. Player recruitment lacking true quality, we formed a team. Performance management again. Player management again. Mentality of players and staff introduced professionalism to a semi-professional environment. And we had success. So hopefully you can take something from that. And then this is a key picture. So many people in the world today are in this. Whether you are married, you have children, you are stable in your job, you settle for this. And what are you going to be able to look back on and tell your grandchildren what you did in your life? For me, it's always about being in this bit, because I love magic. And this is definitely, this is where it happened. So coming out of the comfort zone to do this. My comfort zone with those was I was going to show the video, but I couldn't because I didn't have enough time to edit the footage to put the beeps in of me speaking to the team at half time. So that adversity was being able to work with these people and tell grown men who were 3 times the size of me exactly what I thought of him and what he just did. Knowing that anything can come across the room, including his fist. So it's an interesting video. If you want to see it throughout the day, I'm more than happy to show you. Case study 3 was Thailand. So you're aware of it. This is sort of the environment. We won the under-19 championship as a country director. I was very lucky where I won the Thai Premier League, the Thai FA Cup, and the Thai League Cup at first team level. Apologies for the joke and salute there, but I was quite happy at that point. Okay, so the scenario again, when I joined Buriram, they were former champions already. So how can you improve former champions? They are the Chelsea of Thailand. The president, if you want to Google him, his name is Nevin Chinchop. It's very interesting to read about this guy, and I constantly had battles. You just read about what he's like. It's very interesting. I joined as an academy director, so from under 21 down to 10. And I was expected to achieve instantly, put under pressure. If you don't win the next tournament at under 14, your contract's finished. Luckily for me, I won 6 tournaments while I went there. And then I joined the first team after 6 weeks as performance director. So the detail again, mass budget, I'm talking millions of USD, millions, hundreds of millions. Presidential pressure and interference, pick the team. I was doing my keynote to the team, and the assistant coach has a call, I tell him not to answer his phone, he answers the phone, passes it to me. I literally put the team up and the president changed it. So what did I do? I just blamed the president. But this is what you have to work at, it's not easy. Sniping, spying, corruption, people causing problems, all the time. I was lucky I learned the language, which I didn't tell half the staff, so I could hear when they were giving that to me in the back. And I had to work with that. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I was forced upon in many circumstances. Staff were coming in, I was forced to have 3 Spanish coaches and I didn't want them. So I redeveloped the training ground, on and off the pitch. I asked for the stadium plan and I redeveloped the whole environment. I developed tournament winning teams in every age group. Developed players who were forgotten about. Players who were not selected in the national team at youth level got back into the national team and more. And my contract was terminated. So my principles were intact and my relationships were intact. So this is about developing and fighting back. After doing such a fight, and I missed Thailand, I missed this job, but I had to fight back. And I have. So how did we do it? I worked with my physio. He was an English boy that I met only 2 months before, and we worked tirelessly. 6 in the morning till 2 the next morning. And I worked that way for the 6 months that I was there. And what I did was environmental change. We wanted to work, we want to learn, and we want to achieve. Structural change, schedule and daily procedures, staff management. Every day, my day would consist of, I would sit with every age group coach from under 10 through 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then I was 18 and 21. So I actually planned every single session for each coach, which a session plan in my world is 8 pages long with the detail. I did it for every age group. And those buggers played snooker, played pool and all this. So I did that until I arranged the meeting towards the afternoon. So I had to, because they were doing this to me, I had to do something which was smart to me, thinking, I will plan for you and give it to you on a plate. You eat, but you wash your dish. And they worked for me in the end. And it worked, and everybody was happy when it took long. Player management, again, I created this, especially with the African boys. Because of my level, like I said about in school, going back about French, I was very lucky where I picked my French back up. So I was on the training pitch coaching in English, Thai and French. And it pulled everybody together, which I think was a part of me getting kicked out because the president didn't like it. But changing mentality of players and staff, always adversity, dealing with tough problems, remarkable in this sport. So just thought, apologies if there are any managers in the room and people are already pointing fingers, but this is what it's about. And that's what I had to do in Thailand. Okay, I'm going to move this very quickly. Just so you're aware of it, this is my philosophy, just something that you can see the detail that it looks like. So this is thousands and thousands of words and hours and planning and how we set up and every detail and who does it. Sorry for those non-football fans, but this is what strategic planning is about in the game. And this is just a few slides out of hundreds. Okay, we're on to the last part. I've got 10 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flick through some of the videos. I'm going to cut basically the videos in half so you can see a little bit. And then I'm going to skip through some of the stats for this World Cup insight. And I'll flick more towards the end bit. So it's just an introduction video.
Festival of football is about to begin. The players have prepared for their entire careers for this moment. And see what all of this means to them. Stand by from high anxiety and tremendous excitement. It seems cannot be stopped. Messi just to the light of
Okay, I'm going to finish on Tim Cahill. The reason being, Tim Cahill is a former Everton player, so I'll stick with that one. Okay, so just on the case study for the World Cup, this is what I was going to go through for the football enthusiasts in the room. I'm just going to flick through. So basically, I was going to look at finalists, surprise package, the disappointments. I have great joy in saying this. England. Player contrast, I'm sure everybody knows these three people, more often than not, this one and this one, just so you know, I'm a fan of this one and not this one. An inspirational connection to me. So I'm just going to flick through everything really quick, because I'll probably again bore your stats. So basically this is just comparisons between Argentina and Germany. As you can read there, it's massive contrast, but both were in the World Cup final, and the game was pretty even for the time being. But the way they played, the way they are built, how they developed through the tournament, and the statistics were very few and far between. Interesting that they both got there. This is a video on Chile. So I was going to talk about Chile as a surprise package. Chile being that most players came from their own league, except the top players like Arturo Vidal, Gary Medel and a few of the others. So this is just some clips for you of them. So apologies I won't run through it because of time. But I think this says it all. This is against Spain. I'm just going to look at the Spain game. Okay, sorry, what? I'm going to run out of time. I've had the dreaded card from down the front. So I just want to get through the last bit because that's more important to me. These are the stats. So basically, in a nutshell, Chile achieved above average, well above tournament average in everything they did. Passing, passing, work rate, tackles, distance covered, everything. So it shows against adversity what they did. Chile have changed the trend in football now. In football, the trend changes every 12 to 18 to 24 months. They changed it massively in this World Cup. So these are just stats. Again, for those football enthusiasts, if you want to see later, I can show you and talk to you a bit more, no problem. It's okay. Okay, these three, I was going to look at expectation of all three, the performance and the verdict, which relates back to team dynamics of, is it the squad's fault or the coach's fault? And just very quickly so you're aware, my opinion is, this one, it was the squad, achieved in qualifying massively in qualifying, didn't lose, did okay in the World Cup, a bit lackluster. These sailed through qualifying, all Rojak boys there. And this one, Brazil won the Confederations Cup 1 year ago. Okay, thanks. Is that Malaysian time or this one? So Brazil won the Confederations Cup 12 months ago, nothing changed. Scolari didn't change anything. England, it was both the squad and the coach, for your awareness, my opinion. Scolari didn't change anything, so when he came to this, I'm just going to shift through this, apologies. When he came to the tournament, Brazil only looked at him. And when this happens, this is an accident waiting to happen. You cannot do it anymore. You cannot do it in the modern game. They are relying on him. The two coconuts playing centre back, over £100 million. David Luiz, I don't know what he's doing. Thiago Silva, I think the pressure. You saw Brazil's first game, the anthem, crying. Yes, it's fantastic passion, but I think too much. And they let them get the better of it. And Scolari, from a point of team dynamics, should have controlled their emotion. But I spoke to a conditioning coach when I delivered for FIFA on Thursday. He knows the conditioning coach of Brazil, and he said the players were having the time of their life in Brazil. Girls, hotel, up all night goals. What do you expect? this is so, but Scolari, sure he knows about it, security, sure they know what's going on. This one, coach's fault. Three players in terms of player contracts. So again, expectation, performance, leadership, verdict. Left and right, I feel very much the same type of performance in the World Cup. The two best players in the world were expected to deliver are compared to Pele and Maradona, who are legends, and they didn't deliver at the prime time of their career when they should have. The middle one, people are not aware of the pressure he had. He'd already had a transfer for €40 million before going to Real Madrid. He played extremely well, but nobody really talked about him, and you could see what he did. Coconut one, coconut two. He's on his own and nobody around him, feeling sorry for himself. This one, probably thinking, what has just gone on with him? And this is a video on Rodriguez. Apologies again, Ty. Are you okay?
Okay.
Okay, basically that's his 6 goals, lots of music. Sorry, I'm going to get through this, I'm almost there. So, the Netherlands, and a correlation to what I feel. I'm not saying I'm Louis van Gaal. I know people don't like Louis van Gaal. I know people who have worked with Louis van Gaal. So the Netherlands, as you are aware, he had an adaptable mindset, and so did the players. They changed their playing formation 4 times in the World Cup, sometimes 3 times in one game. People think the guy's crazy. He's not, but he knows what he wants. But he had a clear philosophy and a working methodology. Having your own philosophy, which is what I wrote, is not about the formation that you play. It's about adapting, but you stick to your key principles, which in team dynamics, that's what everybody should keep doing. Always stick to your strategic plan, but you may drift away tactically to carry it out. He achieved success, Van Gaal. Netherlands finished 3rd. I think were fantastic to watch with a limited squad. Because the Dutch were limited, except for Van Persie and maybe 1 or 2 others, Schneider, but they were limited as a whole, and I'm almost there. If you want to take this down, or wait till after, this is a 15-minute video of Louis van Gaal delivering a keynote like this, based on team dynamics and motivation, and it's in Dutch, but it's subtitled. Very, very clever. He had 37 staff. I talked about staff cohesion. Van Gaal took 37 staff to Brazil. Unbelievable keynote. Whether you are a lover of football. Louis van Gaal, Dirk Kuyt, 33 years old. He played at left wing back when for the majority of his career he played striker or right side midfield. Van Gaal taught him with a philosophy and gave him new things to learn during the biggest competition in the world. Because of all those things I've just spoke about. Managing the team, managing the players. Here's the squad. And then just final words from me, so I think I've got maybe 90 seconds left. I have a vision and philosophy in my work. My personal development, I go back to everybody that you saw on the keynote in the initial slides. I have an adaptable working mindset because I have to be with the cultures, the religions. Some staff are not at a specific level, not their fault because they haven't had the education. Football education, that is sorry. I never relinquish my principles or my integrity for anybody. My bar every day is this high and I will not drop it for nobody. If you cannot raise to my bar, that is your problem, not mine. That's my rules. Even to my senior members of staff. My boss is that way. I'm not saying he is, before anybody tweets it. But if he cannot raise his standards to mine, it's okay. I keep working to my standard, people can catch up to me. Give over and above. Kevin Cooper, the middle coach of the 3, a professional soundboard, said this to us almost every day. Don't worry, I couldn't deal with it sometimes. The management at the challenge at the Vivian couldn't deal with it. The cream always rises. Good bottle of milk, the cream will always rise to the top. And that's what he says to me every day. You are the cream and you will always rise. So don't worry about it. If you believe in all these things, you will get there. Take responsibility every day. Don't pass the buck. Take responsibility, work hard, push yourself forward, and deal with the consequences. Because if you do, you will succeed. And I value my network. Apologies, I only know maybe 2 or 3 people in the room. I don't know what anybody's backgrounds are, what you're doing, what you want to do, but you are now part of my network, if you wish to be. If you don't, I don't take any offense also. The final word is in terms of personal development and team dynamics. I am a winner, so whether I'm working by myself for my own career or I'm working with a team, they will also be winners. Because of the way that I try to work. I think I got 45 seconds left there. So this is, you hear many things on courses, conferences, people are philosophical. I'm not a philosopher at all, but I've come up with this, which is what I try and stick by, is that efficiency and effectiveness produces excellence. So here's my details. Personal email, Twitter, WhatsApp, Viber. Oh, I put the same number in. Wait, this is a Thai one right there. I'm going to change it. Sorry, I don't know why that came in. I'll just put it up again. Okay. So this is registered for Thailand, WhatsApp and Viber. Anything. You know, you may have your own keynote you want to develop. You may have liked the way I've done this, the way I've designed it, templating things. Ideas and group dynamic, whatever it is, just drop an email, drop a message, it's no problem. I am extremely busy, but I'll try and give as much of that time as I can, and don't ever feel that you can't. Apologies if you explain who you are, and I say sorry I haven't met you, but you just explained it was on GYC conference, okay. And then I'm going to put this in, so I haven't been smart and let my presentation go forward, but I was going to ask if anybody got any questions. If you do, use everything that I've given you and I'm around all day. No problem at all. And thank you very much.